Man, you wouldn't believe what I did today. I decided to put the sketchbook aside for a bit and dabble in, wait for it, baking. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Andrew, you can barely toast bread properly. How did you manage to bake? Well, let me tell you, it wasn't any ordinary bread. I went all in and baked artisan bread, like the fancy French kind. In a way, it's a different form of art, or at least, that's what I like to think. Sculpting dough and controlling oven temperature, just like molding clay and controlling the shading in a sketch. Anyway, my masterpiece for the day was a traditional French baguette. I gotta admit, it's a whole different ballgame compared to sketching, but man, the aroma of that freshly baked loaf, it was amazing, like the smell of turpentine and paint in the morning. Trust me, if I could sketch that smell, I would. All right, not comparing bread to paint any further. Don't want you to think I have completely lost it. So I shared this great baking revelation with Nina. You remember her, right? She was pretty surprised, but now I owe her a freshly baked baguette on Monday. I might even throw in some strawberry jam to make it a full French experience. Who knew? Andrew the artist turns Andrew the baker? Next thing you know, I'll be opening up a French patisserie in the heart of New York. Funny how things turn around, huh? Speaking of which, Nina mentioned a documentary on Basquiat on Netflix. I've always admired him, his journey, his art, just everything about him. I'm planning to check it out tonight. I figured, taking a chill night in, just Netflix and my new love for bread, could be good. Anyway, been chatting away here. Gosh, listen to me talking about baking bread like it's a piece of art. I guess when you look at it, everything's a canvas for creativity, right? You've got to admit, it's kind of amazing how art sneaks into every aspect of your life. So, I got to be the dungeon master last night in an online board game night with my art buddies. Imagine D&MD but hitched a ride on the fantasy train. I mean, obviously I added my artistic touch to it. It was like turning my sketches into a game. Every goblin and dragon was right out of my sketchbook. Nina says she's never seen a game so intricately detailed. I won't lie. I did binge on fantasy art Pinterest boards for a week beforehand. But the night was a blast, man. Mythical creatures and friends. The concoction was nothing short of an adventure. I really love how fantasy lands have no limits, no confines. It's like a blank canvas, an empty sketchbook, where you can just let your imagination run wild. At times during the game, I could see my friends getting lost in the world I created. It reminded me why I chose art, I guess gaming is also like art. There's beauty in strategy, creativity in campaigns, and talent in game mastering. This whole experience has given me a new project idea to sketch a series of fantasy lore and myths. You remember the one time I tried to paint a dragon only to abandon it after a single stroke? Well, I'm going to give it a try again. Nina mentioned a new exhibition at the Met, Perceptions of Reality. She says it's fascinating. Nina, when she says fascinating, there's got to be something in it that's thought-provoking or at least distinctive. Got to note it down and check it out after Andrew the Baker's grand debut session on Monday. Like I said, bread and strawberry jam, you know the drill. Honestly, even after all these years, life seems ripe with unexpected things, right? Who'd have expected a neurotic perfectionist artist to fall in love with the messy world of baking or get lost in the complex world of fantasy gaming? Now that I think of it, isn't life itself a game of mystery? A mysterious path where each turn reveals something unanticipated. Anyway, gotta run. I left Danny hanging on the phone and my paint is drying. I want to start a preliminary sketch for my fantasy lore series I told you about. All right, catch you later, buddy. So guess what happened today? I decided to dive headfirst into the ocean of Chinese culture. I mean, it's not as random as you might think. You remember I mentioned this fascination with Chinese culture during a chat with Nina, right? Next thing you know, I'm studying Mandarin like it's the latest Pollock painting. It's been quite the ride, man. You've heard of Mandarin being tough. Well, let me tell you, that's putting it mildly. But what's art without struggle, huh? Quite a poetic irony, I'd say. An artist learning a language, isn't it an art of its own kind? Good composition, rhythm, and tonality? Same as needing a good eye, patience, and skill in our field. I mean, just think about it. How cool would it be to comprehend Chinese art in its native language? It's like painting with primed oils. The output is just richer. Becoming bilingual now. That's an unexpected twist, isn't it? Maybe Andrew the linguist after Andrew the baker. Who knows? Oh, this quest for Mandarin reminded me of a conversation with Nina about tackling different cuisines. Imagine this. One day, I'm going all French with baguettes. Another day, I'm dreaming about authentic Italian food, linguistically and gastronomically globetrotting, right here from my art studio. Do you think if I learn Mandarin, the next thing I'll be cooking up is some Peking duck? But here's what. As absorbing as the Mandarin gig's been, I think it's been distracting me from my sketching. Nina inquired about the fantasy-themed sketch series. I'll admit I've not started yet. There's something about the dragons that keeps daunting me. But you know what? I've decided to face the dragon. No pun intended. I guess it's like learning Mandarin. Daunting at first, but gradually, you start understanding the beauty of it. Gotta start somewhere, right? Nina mentioned a new exhibition at the Met. Perceptions of Reality. It sounds right up my alley. Percent. I mean, who could resist a name like that? But that's a trip for another day. For now, it's time for Andrew, the man of many titles, to get back to his etchings. All right, buddy. Gotta head back to my world of Mandarin and mythical creatures.